How is this going to help me lead the life that I want to live?
We're going to value engineer the hell out of this.
Yeah. But value engineering.
Engineering.
You went to engineering school,
I did go
Steve.
to engineering school.
You went to engineering school.
Tell us the story from engineering school. Institutional education and Steve is just not, it's not really, it wasn't working then. That math wasn't mathing.
Honestly, it's unless you want to climb the corporate ladder as an entrepreneur, you should not go get an academic degree.
Though, I will say, great experience, and definitely learned some things that I do use today. I just used calculus 2 and everything yesterday.
Did you? All day. Yeah, actually, that makes sense. I never took calculus. Did you know?
You didn't take calculus? I thought your people would always take calculus. No.
Listen, let me tell you a story. This is going to shock a lot of our audience. I've never really had an academic work ethic, right? I just kind of skate by on C's, and I've always been an AB student, naturally intelligent, never had to learn how to study, right? Because I just pick up concepts. And so I remember I was like, oh, how hard could it be, advanced classes in 11th grade? And I went from I took one honors history class and I made a C in it. Granted, turns out you actually have to read the book, but I just made buddy with the soccer coach who was the guy at the time. And I got the shit kicked out of me playing soccer in high school as a way to ingratiate myself to be please don't fail me. And so he gave me a C, and he was always a really cool guy. His last name was actually cool. I wonder if he's still alive. But I was like, it can't be bad. So the next year, I was like, okay, I'm going to take 2 honors classes and 3 AP classes. Dude, I didn't know what the fuck any of that meant. I failed honors algebra 2. That's the first time I ever failed a class because I thought that I was smart enough. I didn't have to do my homework, and I wanted to flirt with the pretty girls behind me. So I learned how to flirt pretty good that year. But damn, I had to take summer school. Guys, if you're wondering if you're cut out and you can pass, I went from failing honors algebra 2 and I'm working on a doctorate. You can do it if you want to. I'm confused
right now. You failed honors algebra 2 and had to take summer school. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I never had to go to summer school in high school. And I passed algebra 2 with I want to say an A. I set the physics curve for our final exam in class, and I was really good. I was really good at math, and physics is basically math, but in science form.
Yeah, applied math.
And I'll never forget, that whole year was 97, 99, 95. I might as well fail. 98, 97, 98, 99. So the teacher goes, hey guys, so the best grade, I'm going to convert that into 100, however many points that takes. That's what I'm going to give everybody else. That's the curve. And then he silence, and 10 seconds later he goes, so Steve's going to be setting the curve, just in case you're all aware. And so now I'm all pressure on me, oh my God, what if I fail? All these things, right?
You should have failed.
Well, I got a 97, so everybody got 3 extra points.
Dude, you're such a fucker. I'd be so mad at you. I'd be listen, bro, please, man, please be a team player. Please get a 20, dude. Get a 20. Just help us out here. Some kid had to go to summer school because of you.
I can't believe you failed classes. In my mind, you were just
yeah, dude. Steve, my second semester in undergrad, I failed public speaking because you have to go to class. Turns out you have to show up. So I had a rough start to undergrad, actually.
I almost failed English in my senior year because, and I got them on the technicality. And if you wonder where learning and understanding the detail and the letter of the law was born from, this is one of them. But I had English was one of those all right, high C, low B student, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, marking period, all that. I get through midway through the marking period, and you get the progress report sent home. And right
Yep.
about the same time was when I got my acceptance letter into college with my scholarship. So I'm like, all right, progress report, nothing says I'm at risk of failing. If nothing says you're at risk of failing, you can't fail that marking period. They literally can't fail you. Then I get, you're accepted into college. I'm like, well, I'm in college and I got a scholarship and I can't fail any classes. Do you want to know how much work I decided I wasn't going to do at that point forward? Well, I did bad enough in English for in the half of one marking period that it drove my like C plus all the way down to like failing. She couldn't fail me. So she had to give me a 65 for the fourth marking period. So I still passed. But there was a week at she's like, "Hey, I need you to do some of your like you didn't do anything. Like you didn't try. Like you didn't hand stuff in with blank pages with your name on it. Try." So I didn't fail anything in high school on a technicality. And then I went to college and I was like, well, it's way harder to your point. You actually have to show up and do the work. And my
You
first
got to show up.
semester was I got
You got to show
slaughtered.
up.
Slaughtered.
It's a different skill set, honestly. And like, to be fair, I was definitely at the peak of my disordered eating at the time, and so there was I think at one point I was training like 30 hours a week, not like personal training, but like myself. I would be that guy that'd be out there running with a ruck on my back with fucking Vivo Barefoot. So shout out to Vivo Barefoots for all the shin splints and busted fucking feet that they've delivered over the years. You guys are
But they're good for
schmucks.
you.
Hopefully that
Strength.
lawsuit hurt.
Strengthen your feet when you
Strengthen your feet. Yeah, you could go run a marathon in these things. It's great for butthole cancer. I'm like, your marketing department, man, you guys crushed till you didn't.
well, listen,
Till you
they
pissed
had a
somebody
really good
off.
offer. The value of buying those barefoot sneakers made you buy them and you were committed. They had a really good offer. Now, they were the epitome of not letting the truth get in the way of good marketing. But like, you bought it, and that's really what a good offer, a good value stack, value proposition is all about.
Yep.
So you see what I did there?
Yep.
I
Yep.
reined us in really well of what we're supposed to be talking about today.
Yeah. And then there's one point when I lost my virginity. I was like 18, I think, newly 18. And this is me deviating away from topic real quick. I'm kidding. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up if you want to hear the story, though, and we might tell you in the future. Probably not, but maybe. But share some love.
Let's
Give
just
us a
discuss
like.
the fact that you were 18.
So, yeah, I was 18. I was a late bloomer. I mean, I'm celibate. I've never. I am looking for a wife, ladies. So if
I'm
you
not
or any
even
of your
looking for
really
a
attractive
girlfriend. I need
friends
a
are smart,
wife.
I need a wife. I want to do the family thing. Honestly, at this point, dating is so wild that I'm about to put out paid ads.
Insane.
Fuck a dating app. I'm just going to be like, hi, my name's Andrew. I have a dog.
We're gonna value engineer the hell out of this marketing proposition here. So, anyways,
Yeah.
so
So,
we talk a lot about marketing. We talk a lot about sales. We talk a lot about attention, audience, all those components. We talk about
yep.
knowing your numbers, delivery, making sure you're a good nutrition coach, making sure you know how to write fitness programming, making sure we can get results for people we're testing, biofeedback, and all of those components. But there is a really fun piece in my mind, but also a widely misunderstood piece that goes kind of neatly in the center between your marketing and into the sales process. And it really is building your offer. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have your offer set, people don't know necessarily what they're buying. And here's the crazy thing. And Andrew, you have a funny story to share with, I believe we nickname him Bobbert. But your offer isn't necessarily, hey, pay whatever, $500 and get 2 sessions a week and one nutrition coaching check-in every other week and a meal plan written for you and 6 weeks of, results with coaching and things at the end of it with an assessment, with printouts, with like, no one gives a shit. Like, those are important pieces, but us nerds, like, when we sit here and go, hey, we have Empowered, and in Empowered, there's fitness programming templates and nutrition templates, and we talk about marketing templates, and we go over marketing concepts, and then we talk about coaching development, and then we put in AI, guides on how to prompt and get the things that you want, and we talk about the outbound method, and like, cool, that's the literal tangible what you're getting. But on the other side of that, what you're actually buying is, we'll save you like 5 to 10 hours a week worth of actual work in your coaching business and help you make more money by giving you these things. And that's really what, how crafting that offer, that big value engineering thing is. So, Andrew, talk about Bobbert here real quick. And it's funny to me because it's exactly what I did when I was first a trainer. And a lot of trainers start
Yeah,
out in
yeah.
person, and there's really only one way to put a true valuation on your services in terms of what you're buying. So, like, I did this. This was me 15 years ago. I did it, but let's.
Every new person starts out this way, and I'll use it. It's kind of like the analogy in terms of, if you hire a plumber, imagine this: your toilet's broken and you have shit water on your floor. You hire someone to come out and fix the shit water toilet situation. Yeah. Meanwhile, the Jurassic Park camera is shaking all over the place. I apologize. So the guy shows up, plumber crack and all, tool belt on. He's got a roto rooter and whatever else kind of crazy shit that they use. I'm clearly not a plumber. And he starts telling you how excited he is to use all of these different tools. He's like, oh, look at my hammer, and this thing has a claw on it, and look at what this can do. And then he's like, well, then look at this other tool that I have. And he starts telling you a litany of things. And the guy's like got 50 tools and clearly a strong sense of autism. So you're like, I just want you to, can you please fix my problem? That's exactly what it's like anytime you know that a trainer's gone to a new certification, because they will talk about that tool or that knowledge set or that problem thing that they can solve now all the fucking time. How do you know that someone's a movement and mobility specialist? They're like, oh, everything's a stretch problem. You're like, Jesus Christ. Or like a functional movement person. Everything got to be funkin'. No, bro. Some
How,
people just want to have
how,
bigger biceps
how
to
do you know
show. It's not
somebody does
functional. It's
CrossFit?
actually not
They'll
functional.
tell you.
They fucking never shut the fuck up
I
about
was
it.
just
The
going to
same thing
say,
with
how do you know
vegans,
somebody's a
carnivore
vegan?
diet. Yeah. Triathletes, but that's actually a really great point that you bring that up, in that people want to talk about the things that they're excited about, which means that those are the things that they inherently value. And during a consultation, the things that people get excited to talk about are actually really great gold nuggets for you to build the bridge of like, oh, well, you're excited about that. How can this thing that I have to offer help you do that thing better, or enjoy that, or clean up the shit water? I just want to solve the problem. I don't care about your tool, sir. Do this, do it fast, do it well, so I never have this problem again. And that's really the value proposition when it comes to, and Steve mentioned something called an offer. And so we use this term a lot, but it's literally the thing that you have that you are going to offer someone. And it's a package. It's like a package. It's a combination of services, products, whatever it is that you're trying to monetize. It could be your skill set. It could be your knowledge. It could be your experience. And generally speaking, when you become more capable because you have more knowledge or you have more experience, the value proposition of the offer is actually significantly higher, to the degree that you can articulate that. And that's where a lot of people that don't worry about business and they just worry about the certifications and they worry about how can I solve a problem, they never learn how to simplify that explanation and help someone understand that that is the general process of it without getting too far in the details. Just the same way that you don't care about what the plumber's tools are. So going back to Bobbert, right? I was having a conversation with a trainer who's mentoring at Lifetime probably about 2 weeks ago. And he's really excited. He's like, man, I'm going to solve the sales problem that I'm having. I have this. And he pulls up a little Canva document, right? So Bobbert is a lovely human, amazing, like decent trainer, right? One of those people that has he has a lot of initiative, a lot of drive. I would say probably poor business acumen, meaning he's never learned how to do the business thing. He's just kind of had a lot of opportunities and he's had enough tenacity to stick with it, which is very uncommon. Most people don't have that level of resilience. Like they'll try something and it won't work, and like, oh, this is not for me, or oh, it's bad leads, or oh, then they'll start blaming other things instead of looking at their processes. But Bobbert shows me this thing. He's like, man, having this trouble growing my business to 10K a month, I think this is going to be it. And he turns his iPad around and he shows me this graphic that he worked really hard on in Canva. Dude, he literally showed me all his plumbing tools. So anyway, so he shows me this Canva thing, and on it, it has like, kind of a good, better, best thing on a red background with the biggest thing on there was $6,000, $8,000, $10,000. And I'm talking about like those numbers are literally 5 times the size of the things that list underneath it in terms of what you get for that amount. And underneath it, it's like, you're going to have 3 personal training sessions a week. You're going to have 1 nutrition coaching session per week. You're going to have a Pilates session per week. And all I can think about as I'm seeing this is who the fuck wants to spend $10,000 to do all that work? Like, what do you mean? It's $10,000 and it's not done for me? Like, I can't snap my fingers and get liposuction? Like, because liposuction is actually cheaper than $10,000 of training, by the way, in my head. And I'm like, I'd just go fucking get the surgery. Honestly, that sounds goddamn awful. I got to do all that hard shit. What? Nah, man, that's what's going to cost me per month. Per month. Like, nobody's doing that. And so, we have the conversation, and at the end of the day, he was selling people the process. He was selling people, this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to pay $10,000. Then you're going to have to show up. You're going to have to put the work in. But don't worry, I'm going to be there with you to do the work. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck if you're there or not. Just, I don't want to do the work. What's the fastest way for me to get the shit water cleaned up off the floor? And so when we think about like the nature of how we build value, all we see is that I'm going to take your money, I'm going to take your time, and you're going to have to work really hard. There's no value inside of how is this going to help me lead the life that I want to live? How is this going to help me find a romantic partner if I'm dating? How is this going to help me pick my grandkids up if I'm debilitated and currently dealing with pain? Like, those are the things that those numbers should be attached to. And by the way, in your brain, we actually know that it will trigger a pain response whenever you know that you're spending money, similar to the degree as physical pain. It's actually crazy. So this is why when you look at a lot of high-end menus, you'll see that it's just numbers. It's like 14.49 or 69.99. Like, there's no dollar sign. And it's usually small and it's off to the side. And usually the dish and the description are kind of obviously the main attractor inside of the visual. And so the last thing you want to do is say, hey, here's what I'm going to take from you. Here's what you're going to have to put into the equation versus like, here's what the dream state is. By the way, it's going to cost you this, right? So in terms of value engineering, like, don't start with proposing a product or a solution without creating a significant amount of awareness around the pain. And we talked about this in a previous episode. Mike Milner was on a podcast episode recently as well, when he talked about client nurture. And the more you build the relationship, the more receptive people are going to be to your offer. And so those are really important things for you to walk people from unaware to problem aware. And that's really what you're doing in the consultation. They'll start looking for a solution. You just so happen to have a product, and that's eventually where people purchase. But going from not knowing this person to, hey, 10 grand, 3 times a week, we're going to meet for this, Pilates, nutrition coaching, you're going to do all this hard work and maybe you'll get there, like, pass.
Yeah, and it's,
so,
like the thing about it is people need to understand the process that they are buying to an extent. And when we do our training, the blueprint, we dedicate, I believe it's day 2, all around building the offer. And there are 3 P's that are a part of that, right? It's the promise, the process, and the price. Those components do need to go along with the offer. The promise is you're going to achieve XYZ goal within XYZ time frame, while being able to, without having to give up, while not having to do whatever the right framing for that person is, right? So, hey, you're going to lose 10 pounds in the next 2 months without having to give up your favorite foods. We see that all over the internet all the time. And the thing is, that by itself doesn't help push anybody over the line. That, in fact, should come after you're really talking about the actual offer that they're getting. The actual process, again, people need to understand. You need to make sure they're bought into, hey, we're going to meet 3 times a week. We're going to go through our workouts. We're going to make sure we include some cardio work and mobility work and nutrition coaching and whatever the relevant things are for that person, or your unique kind of coaching
Mm-hmm.
philosophy, or however your IP, however you describe that. So you will cover those things, but highlighting, hey, I'm going to eat up 9 hours of your time every week, and then you're going to have to meal prep for 3 hours a week. That's not really that fun. Like, it just doesn't, people aren't
Mm-mm.
down for that. And then the last component is, in order
Mm-mm.
for somebody to sign up for it, they obviously need to know the price. Like, those are relevant pieces. But when we think about building and what
Mm-hmm.
we call it as the NBO, the no brainer offer, you actually lead with a lot of the outcomes that people are truly trying to get. And, if you're a really fun world to live in, and this is not a very realistic scenario, but I'll paint the picture where if you go out and between now and 6 weeks from now, the only thing you do is talk about making people lose weight by having better meal prep, you know, guides, whatever the thing is. That's the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
only thing you talk about, nothing else. And
Yeah.
if somebody reaches out to you during those 6 weeks, right? Email, social media, paid, in person, the only thing you mention is meal prep guides and saving time and making it easy and protein goals. Well, how easy is it then to assume in 6 weeks, when you're actually talking to that person, like, I want to buy, that they give some level of a shit around the meal prep stuff, because that's the only thing you've said. Right now, that's not
Mm-hmm.
realistic. It's not how life works. But your offer is going to, on kind of high level, the initial conversations, flex a little bit based upon the micro problems and the personalities and the interactions you're having. So that
Mm-hmm.
way it highlights it, because Andrew's pain point is not the same as my pain point, but both of us are trying to look really damn good. But we have different pain points. So as we go through this process, listen, I'm in a phase of you know, making sure I look good. It's not about longevity right now, Andrew. Um, but as you go through the process and you understand some of those underlying things, you now start to be able to craft what that person is looking for. And again, it comes down to, what are some of the guarantees that we're willing to give? And I don't mean like a, oh, hey, if you don't lose your weight, I'll give you free coaching until you do type mentality. Because I don't know, if you didn't get me there in the first place and you agreed to something dumb, why is it going to work when it's free? Um, there are some instances where a guarantee like that I think is helpful, but the general idea
Mm-hmm.
is you want to help them achieve the result that they want within a time period that is very reasonable and viable, while hopefully not completely changing their life for this perceived worst thing. When I first started having to track my food when working with Andrew, if he led into the, yeah, you can coach with me and it's going to be great tracking all your food, I was going to be terrible. Like, there was no way I was going to buy into that, because
You had
I
something
did
like that
have something
before,
like that. It was
actually,
fucking awful, because
from the
I'm sitting
previous
there and I'm
one.
like, hey, he's like, yeah, eat a bagel in the morning. I'm like, but aren't carbs bad for you? Like, it's bad. And he's like, no, just eat a bagel and eggs. And I'm like, of all the carbs you want me to eat, it's
That's
a
evil.
bagel? Like, there's nothing nutritious about a bagel. And like, that was the biggest like mind fuck for me. Now, on the other side of things,
Yeah.
I'll eat the shit out of some bagels and bread now, because I've learned. But he didn't
Mm-hmm.
meet me where I was at. He just told me to do, and I need to understand a little bit, right? So for
Yeah.
me with Andrew's like, yeah, you come coach with me, and the biggest thing is you're going to actually learn and you're going to understand at a deeper level all these components. I'm like, oh, super intriguing, because then I become empowered to do my thing. That's fantastic. Okay, great. Yeah, we're going to actually check in once a week. 15 to 20 minutes is all, which bold-faced fucking lie right there, because there's never a 15-minute conversation with Andrew. But throughout that, it was, I learned, we would approach something on my timeline when I was ready for it, or until Andrew goaded me into it. And and and
He's a
we'd
sucker
have
for
our weekly
breadcrumbs, guys.
check-in that I was able to show up. Here's my progress this past week, and here's my question. And 9 out of 10 times I think I showed up with a very valid question of, what is a very good next
Mm-hmm.
step for me, right? Like, what's the thing I need to be thinking through? But the process that I was going to go through wasn't, you're tracking, you have to make this food. You should probably eat more things in a wrapper because it's easier to track for your lifestyle, even though we understand that whole foods, which is a little bit more of a pain in the ass, might be
Mm-hmm.
healthier, but from a macro standpoint, right? Or a micro standpoint, not a macro standpoint. So it was all these components that when I had a conversation with Andrew, it's like, all right, I'm going to achieve my goal. I'm going to get to learn. And I only had like in my mind, I only had to put in like 20 minutes a week. That's all that was going to happen. Now, the benefit that Andrew had was I already worked out 4 to 5 days a week. There was no addition there for me. I just had to change what was going on. Okay. And there was some big changes to that hour or so, but I was still putting the time in. It was just going to become more beneficial. Cooking, I enjoy cooking. I already cook. So I didn't have to change anything there per se. I just had to start to dial things in. The biggest strain for me
Mm-hmm.
was having to put every single thing I ate into my phone. Now, yeah, it's just part of life. Like when I'm dialed in, I'm doing my thing, I'm here. When I'm off of it, I'm also off of it. Totally cool. But the point of that being, you need to give somebody that, hey, I'm going to solve your problem. Here's how we're going to go about solving that problem, not the technical aspects, but the things that they're interested in. And in order to achieve and receive that value, give that value, the value exchange, here's how much it costs. And, $500 a week sounds way better than $2,000 a month. $2,000 a month sounds way better than $12,000 for 6 months, mainly because the number gets bigger. The bigger the number, the more scary the number is. They're all the same
Mm-hmm.
loosely, and, there's 4 1/3 weeks in a month and all these different things, but generally speaking, they're perceived all the same. So the way you present it, the conversation you have, and the problems you're solving with that person are the important things. So the 3 Ps are very valuable throughout there, but also
Mm-hmm.
what are you stacking into it? And that last component, like, the biggest benefit was Andrew's like, yeah, here's my bonus as well. Twice a year, we're going to hang out in person and go to the gym and work out together. And I'll make sure I can help you with some of those things. And I'm like, great. My form is going to be checked and everything. I'm joking. He didn't say that. It's a thing when Andrew moves, I go and hang out with him and we usually get a workout in. So, but,
Jay's batting two for
but
two.
like that's the stuff where like, oh, Andrew's value stack, the extra, the bonus is layered in again around things that I would like. So if the only thing you're talking about is meal prep and macro guides and all these things, and somebody says, hey, I want what you have, it probably makes sense to include some type of meal prep macro guide bonus thing that's not normally included, so they feel more value throughout there, and they're significantly more likely to say yes because you've connected the dots to solving their problem with your unique process, not telling them all about every step of your unique process and how that's going to be so cool, because that's not cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you were to summarize that in like wave tops, when someone's crafting an offer for the new people that are listening to this, and if even if you're a veteran, like this is something you should still explore probably every year at least, in terms of how you're doing it, in terms of how you're the process of service delivery or product creation. What is everyone else in the market doing? Because if you're not doing some of those comparisons, you're gonna get left behind. You're gonna be obsolete. We see this all the time in industries. The rail industry is a great example of that. They should have branded themselves as a transportation company in a transportation industry, but they didn't. And so that's why, while it still is, relatively used for more industrial stuff, it's definitely not as widely used by consumers. So if you were to craft that, what are the 3 quick steps?
Yeah, so we obviously have those 3 Ps. Those are kind of the tactical, call it components that you want to make sure somebody gets on the other side of the actual like value and price presentation side. But when we think about the overarching theme, we care about clarity, we care about value, and we care about urgency. Those are going to be 3 big things. So clarity, again, it comes in the form of what does that client, what does that person understand? Not so much what are you telling them, right? At the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
need to be uber confident that your process is going to solve their problem, not that you have a great process. So that's going to be clarity. Value is it's just effectively the positioning of solving the problem versus what's going on in the
Mm-hmm.
rest of their world right now. Right now, you can, and there are some times where, oh, we're going to spend this time, you're going to get this thing, we're going to do whatever. But going in with the simple, oh, yeah, well, it's going to be 3 1-hour sessions a week and that's worth this, like, now you're price competing. Like, it's very hard to go that road. So the value really comes off of, here is the entire suite of stuff you have access to, me, our coaching, the workouts, the whatever your thing is. And this is why we
Mm-hmm.
achieve results at such a high likelihood, right? Value comes from increasing the guarantee that they actually get the results, not the check boxes of things. And urgency is
Yeah.
just going to be
Yeah.
important, right? Most people have something that they care about in their future that you can tie down to and effectively get them to take action sooner than later. Don't create false urgency. Don't be one of those, I got 5 spots available, because guess what? The sixth person that calls you, you're going to say yes. Don't be a fucking liar. If anybody teaches you that shit, don't do it. Okay. But if you truly are like limiting at 5, cool, great urgency. Hey, we have this thing kicking off, this group, this challenge, this whatever, kicking off this Friday. Friday's the last day to register. As long as it's legit, amazing urgency. But also at the same point in time, hey, you've been waiting. Hey, you've spent 3 years yo-yo dieting. Hey, you've spent 4 years working out in the gym 5 days a week. All of these things are other ways to go ahead and put urgency of, stop, like, don't spend another 5 years doing what you've done and not being where you want to be. Start today. Like, no matter what, the time is going to be the time. The commitment is the commitment. Do you want to add on your
Mm-hmm.
indecision time to that as well? Or do you want to just get started? Oh, yeah, you know what? I want to get started. So, those are going to be the themes that we think about. Clarity, value, urgency are things that you really want to layer in. Those 3 P's are the tactical components that have to be there, but making sure you structure and you have the conversation again, meet them where they're at. It's so easy for us to be like, I remember going away for seminars and like learning something, and I'm like, this is the best thing ever.
I'm the corrective
Yeah,
exercise
exactly.
specialist.
Dude,
Okay, so you create
when
weak
I got my
clients. Cool.
CES, like, everybody had an injury that I had to solve.
Upper cross syndrome. Well, there it
Everybody.
is.
You know how many people had lordosis after I took that class? Everyone. Everyone. Just it's just what
Yeah.
happens to us. We love the craft. Like, it's just the thing. So, same thing as, again, I bring up
Yeah.
empowered, and for us it's, we help coaches make $135,000 a year while not having to work more than 30 hours a week. Okay? That's the value proposition that it is. It's $60. That's stupid cheap for what you're getting out of there. The way we do it is we save you hours every week and we solve your problems before you even know that they're your problems. Marketing, sales, coaching, development, results, all those things. Simple and easy. You're ready to buy it. It has nothing to do with, again, the checklist of all the things that are included. We tell you what those are when you buy it, but that's not why you're buying it. You're buying it to save time. You're buying it to make more money. You're buying it to make your life easier. You're buying it to solve a problem that you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really important that if we're just to distill this in the first principles is when you're trying to get someone to take an action, you have to understand what they need, and that means that you understand it and they understand it. And this is the third layer, is that they understand that you understand it. If they don't feel like you know what's going on or why it's relevant or how it's important, then they're not really going to trust you as much. But once you understand the need, then you have to understand what you do, which means that you can drill down or you can keep it pretty surface level. When people are asking, because at the end of the day, the work is the work. If someone wants to lose 50 pounds, they're probably going to need to lift and strength train. But they're going to need to do training for like 5 days a week, right? Now, that doesn't mean personal training. That means like going in, having a focused workout with specific intention behind it. They can either have that experience facilitated, which is the real need, if they don't know what a leg press is, or they don't know what a goblet squat is, or they don't know what a single arm TRX archer row is. Like those things that you need to implement into the work, like the work is the work. How likely are they to do it? How well can they do it? Are they going to stay injury free? Are you reducing risk while maintaining and building momentum? Like those are the realities of what it means to be in the health industry, is that everyone needs to do the work. How do they best execute that work? Is it supervised? Is it alone? Is it in a group? Is it as an individual, right? And so those are the things that you're toggling behind. And by the way, if someone has like 14 different injuries and they have a rotator cuff tear and they have a knee that's messed up, and the list gets pretty long, in terms of specialized considerations, then the more considerations they have, the less apt group stuff becomes. It's not really viable because their injury risk goes up because it's a general program. So those are the things that, as you're understanding what their needs are, you're starting to formulate, well, what do I do that can be of value to you that will help you reduce risk and increase speed to goal? And if you can figure that out, structure that in a way that's organized, easy to digest for someone that's making a purchasing decision, you'll go pretty
Yeah.
far. So, anything to close
Just
this
go
out,
back
Steve?
and review your offer. I think the best advice out of this really is every, once a year, twice a year, just double check it. It's easy to creep and
Mhm.
kind of go down that road of just talking about all the technical things that come along, and
Have to do
you're
stool testing.
probably losing some sales because of your offer presentation. So go back, check it out. There is no perfect offer. There's many great offers that exist, and just continue to refine it. I think there's a lot of opportunity on this side of things. Make it irresistible. Irresistible doesn't mean you have to do a lot more work. It means you just have to present things in an appropriate way that makes somebody really identify your process to the problem and the result that
Hmm.
they're trying to get to. So all of that to say, hopefully this was
Yeah.
helpful. We do offer a Blueprint 4-part series training where we spend one whole day actually talking about this stuff. If you want some information on that, throw a comment down below. Please like this. That helps us out. If you are new to the channel and you have not subscribed yet, smash that subscribe button. But otherwise, we appreciate you spending some time with us. We're here to help you grow your business, where on Beyond the Pump, we break down the fitness. We break down the business of fitness and nutrition. I don't know why, but that's a tongue twister for me these days. I got to slow down a little bit. I'm tired. It's the time change. So
You're
until
the
next
time
time,
change. Just
gang,
waking
peace
everybody
out.
up. So.